Cloudcast Media.
Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show, amplifying the voices of social impact organizations, entrepreneurs, local nonprofits, and other community champions who shape the culture, creativity, and connectivity of San Diego. Brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union, bringing good things to San Diego for over 60 years. Learn more about what is good for you and good for all by visiting www.missionfed.com.
I'm Drew Schlosberg of Cloudcast Media, and it's a good day to have this gentleman in. They do magnificent work as frequent guests on our Spotlight on the Community Show, and that's Bill Payne, President and CEO of Second Chance. How you doing there, Bill?
Good morning. Happy New Year.
Good to you. How was your holidays?
It was too short, as we were discussing earlier,
Yeah.
but it's always wonderful to be here in San Diego.
That absolutely.
It's true.
I'm joined by my co-host, Kristen Fogel, now entering her 7th month as co-host. She is the executive director of San Diego Writers, Inc. this year, celebrating their 20th anniversary. Are you excited about all the activities you're going to be doing for your big anniversary
I
celebration?
think I'm overwhelmed at the moment. Give me Saturday and Sunday, and then I'll be thoroughly excited come Monday.
Or I thought you were going to say, and then you'll be really overwhelmed.
I'll be really overwhelmed. Yeah, absolutely.
Exactly. I know you have a question for Bill.
I do. I just wanted to get into the mission of Second Chance, if you would.
Oh, sure. Our mission is all about helping people towards self-sufficiency. Mm-hmm. And what we focus on is we focus on breaking the cycles of incarceration and poverty for people who are at risk of or actively justice involved. And so we have a tremendous need, not just in San Diego, but across the whole country, to find better solutions for people who are re-entering our communities after a period of incarceration. The traditional approach of deterrence and punishment does nothing to actually rehabilitate people and help them become thriving members of our, productive members of our society.
Yeah.
And you guys have been doing this for quite a while now. And, I know Kristen will probably address it a little bit later in the interview over here, but your success rate is just like off the charts, is it not?
Well, we've been in operation since 1993.
Right.
And so with that 30 plus years of experience, we know what works.
Right.
And many times the measure of success in what we do in serving the population we serve is a measure called recidivism, which is measuring the rate at which people commit a new crime and return to incarceration. I'm not convinced that that's the best way to measure. It's what we call in the business a negative measure. It's measuring when something doesn't happen. Yeah. The better way to measure is actually to measure people's ability to thrive in our society through their self-sufficiency, through their resilience, through their life skills and capabilities. And so that's really what we focus on in all aspects, all the way from housing to behavioral health, substance use disorder, mobility, and job skills and employment.
Right. So how do the folks come to you? Do you go to probation officers? Do you work with the courts? Do you work with all of the above?
All of the above, which is, I was ready for that answer. We have strong partnerships with the public safety groups here in San Diego County, which includes law enforcement, the courts, probation, et cetera. We've also, through community engagement, have had a few people who walk in, especially for our job readiness training, because they've been facing the barriers that seem insurmountable when they can't obtain employment. And really, today is a good day for a call to action for San Diego employers to really look at their practices and see if they're intentionally or unintentionally excluding the approximately 25% of adults in the United States that have some form of justice involvement.
Wow, that's a big number. What's the Youth Garden Fence Project?
Oh, thank you for asking.
You're welcome.
In addition to our adult programs, we have a youth garden program that serves youths aged 14 to 21. And that program, through the lens of an urban garden, teaches important things like nutrition, things about growing food, but it also focuses on job skills and some aspects of mental health. And it does that, like I said, through the lens of an urban garden. And so at our headquarters site on Imperial Avenue in Encanto, we have a teaching garden on site that we use for our program, and it has needed a new fence for quite a while. And through some generous funding from some institutional funders here in San Diego, we've been able to put a beautiful fence around, and importantly, the fence recognizes the contributions to southeastern San Diego from 4 key communities. We're recognizing the Kumeyaay Nation, those of Hispanic heritage, also the Asian Americans that farmed the region for a long time, and then of course the African American community as well. And that area of our area where our headquarters is, from 61st to 69th Street, has been declared the Black Arts and Culture District here in San Diego.
Oh, that's fantastic.
And so the fence will feature 4 panels, each representing each one of those communities. And it's really going to be a great enhancement both to the art installations as well as the appearance of the southeastern San Diego community.
And what a sense of pride for the people that have lived in that community for generations, I imagine, to see this, correct?
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to the youth who participated in the design. We partnered with an organization called A Reason to Survive, or ARTS, and they brought in artists who worked with our youth garden participants to create these panels that represent the communities. And so I'm really excited for those young people to have something in the neighborhood that they designed and got installed and is part of their legacy. That's a beautiful piece of art.
No, there's no question about that. We're chatting with Bill Payne, President and CEO of Second Chance. I'm Drew Schlosberg. As you're listening to another edition of Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show, the nation's longest-running community podcast, we are now in our 18th year. We're brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union, broadcast from the Mission Fed studios here in Scripps Ranch. And Mission Fed for more than 6 decades has been doing great things in our community, joined by my co-host, Kristen Fogel. She is the executive director of San Diego Writers, Inc.
Yeah, actually I had a question about the job readiness program.
Sure.
So I know we're working with an organization, don't ask me which one, where they're placing a formerly incarcerated individual who's interested in arts education. So they work primarily in the arts sector. So we'll be working with that individual, I think in February or March coming up. So do you place interns, or what sort of like job readiness type skills are they learning, or what does that kind of look like?
Absolutely. So our job readiness training program, which is one of the programs we're most known for, is a 4-week training that's sort of, I think of it as the grad school of the rest of our programs. We're a multi-program agency, and really focusing on job skills and employment is the culmination of a lot of other work, in other areas. And so our training is really focused on attitudinal training and the skills that help you obtain and retain a job from a behavior standpoint.
Gotcha.
And so we have a network of employment partners that we work with who will hire our graduates. Yeah. And so the types of occupations range from hospitality industry, automotive services, other service industries like Ace Parking is a great partner of ours. And more importantly, we're getting people started on a path towards a career path. And so we work very closely with the College of Continuing Education, which provides a tremendous amount of job training here in San Diego, and it's free to participants. And it's incredible. The entire community college district, excuse me, is an incredible resource here in San Diego.
Yeah.
And so our training helps people with the soft skills aspects of beginning on that career path, and we work very closely with employment partners.
Cool. You guys do so much work. It would be impossible to delve into all of the programs. Sure. Can you tell me about this, rather sizable $250,000 grant that you just received?
Absolutely. So one of the things that I would, if anyone is interested in entering into the nonprofit space, one of the things that's very important is that it's really relationships that lead to the kind of support that's represented by the grant you mentioned.
Yeah.
The Prebys Foundation is the largest independent private foundation here in San Diego County. And in the last 2 or 3 years, they have stepped up in a tremendous way. We received support in the amount of $250,000 under their initiative around youth success and financial stability. And although the grant is for general operating support, specifically relevant to this grant is our Future Leaders program that we have at Second Chance, which is designed to help achieve better life outcomes for a very particular group, which is what we call transitional age young adults. So anyone who has children, teenagers especially, knows that the age group of 18 to 24 isn't the same as, say, an adult group of 35 or 40-year-olds. Just scientifically and neurobiologically and things that affect behavioral health are different for the transitional age young adults. Our Future Leaders program is designed specifically to lead to better outcomes in connection to higher education for that population, and that's what the Prebys grant is primarily going to help support here in San Diego.
Yeah, they do such good work. Shout out to Grant Oliphant there and all of their amazing people.
Yeah, yes. Grant's been a frequent guest on the show chatting about those things as well. Bill, when we come back from break, we want to talk more about the work that you folks do, how people can get engaged with you, what you need from our audience. And then my favorite topic, Chris and I will double team this one, is on the business case for Second Chance that I've been shouting out ever since Second Chance would come on our show, because it makes too much business sense to not support this great group. We return with Bill Payne, President and CEO of Second Chance. I'm Drew Schlosberg of Cloudcast Media. You're listening to another edition of Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show, brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union. We will be right back.
When you do your banking with Mission Fed, you get great rates on auto and home loans. That's good for you, but something good also happens for a lot of other people. We're not for profit, so we put money back into the community to help lots of great nonprofits to keep San Diego strong. So you're not just getting something good, you're doing something good. Come to Mission Fed. It's banking that's good for all.
Brand amplification is the DNA of Cloudcast Media, and our code is the powerful blending of sound, voice, and storytelling to lift local brands and their communities. Whether it is our Brandcast, Schoolcast, or Causecast platforms, the unifying ethos is all about this community, the one you call home. If you dare to dream and want to explore the brand amplification of Cloudcast, a national leader in local podcasting and other Winfluence strategies, please visit us at cloudcast.us.
I'm Drew Schlosberg of Cloudcast Media. You're listening to another edition of Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show, the nation's longest-running community podcast. We're now in our 18th year. We're brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union. For 6 decades, been doing just phenomenal work, raising everybody up in San Diego County in so many different areas. Joined by my co-host, Kristen Fogel. She is the Executive Director of San Diego Writers, Inc. Got a question for Bill?
Yeah, let's just go straight back into what you talked about. So, can you speak to the business case for San Diego employers to hire the justice involved and other under-resourced populations?
Yeah, thank you for asking. One of the most important aspects of what we do in terms of removing barriers and helping people towards more positive life outcomes is helping them get to a place where they have employment, stability, a career path, et cetera. And so the research shows, when you look at the more than 80 million Americans that have a criminal record, which is about a quarter of the entire U.S. population, for many of those individuals that have been caught up in the criminal justice system, there are still barriers that are presented for employment and economic progress. And so the business case is founded on the fact that what we call second chance employees, or employees that have been involved with the justice system, they perform well and their employers and workplaces benefit. The employers who have made a second chance a part of their talent strategy have been rewarded. And, there's research. 82% of managers, 67% of HR professionals report that the value second chance employees bring to their organization is as high as or higher than workers without records. And the other side benefit is that for those employers who are focused on a more diverse workforce, they really need to access this pipeline because of the disparate impact on minorities and people of color in terms of justice involvement. And so you get the benefit of contributing or forwarding on your own diversity efforts if you have them. The third part of the business case is that the newer or younger generation of workers are insisting that their workplaces have an active social responsibility tactics in place. It's part of attracting the best talent to your business. For all of those reasons, it just makes so much sense for our employers here in San Diego to have an active and engaged strategy around hiring people who are ready to change the trajectory of their lives. The key thing that I emphasize a lot, especially during our job readiness training graduations, is I avoid the phrase giving someone a second chance. Our participants earn their second chance. They've made the decision to change their lives, and they have gone through the necessary steps to put themselves in a place where they're going to be active, engaged, and retainable, highly retainable and promotable employees and bring a tremendous amount of value.
Yeah, and you think about it, this is a common refrain, as Kristen knows on our Spotlight in the Community show, Bill. Yes, you're helping, we just were saying this in the last interview, you're helping that one person, but that one person's got tentacles.
Right.
They've got brothers, sisters, wives, husbands, aunts, uncles, kids, and whatever. And that one person now is helping all those others. Talk about that.
One of my favorite stories, and it still chokes me up. Last year, we had a graduation ceremony from our job readiness training program. I believe it was class number 260. And there's a young lady who was graduating whose 5 children were in the audience. And she looked at her 5 children and she said to them directly, "Mommy has a plan for a better life." And when we think about our region and we think about our neighbors and our communities, those 5 children are going to benefit from the second chance that young lady earned by graduating our program.
Yeah, that is just huge. Talk about Chase Campbell.
That's another one of my favorite stories. Just spoke to him yesterday, as a matter of fact. So Chase is a former Second Chance program participant. He has a history of justice involvement, had gone through our job readiness training successfully. And following that and his entering the workforce, he actually returned to Second Chance as an employee and facilitated the job readiness training program for a period of time before his aspirations took him on a different path. He got involved in what they call talent acquisition or recruiting, and is now a technical recruiter for Amazon, which is a pretty good job.
Yeah.
It's a really, really good job.
Probably better than mine, yes.
Yeah, and he's really good at it too.
Yeah.
He's very talented. And the thing that my favorite cap to the story is that after re-engaging with the organization, we've invited and he's accepted, and Chase Campbell is now on our board of directors. And so we have a member of our board of directors who is a former employee, was also a former participant, and is a very successful person in the field of employment. And it's an incredible story for someone whose past doesn't have to define his future. And every sentence shouldn't be a life sentence. And stories like that are just evidence.
So now that you teed us up with this, you will be bringing Chase in with you when you come back on?
Oh, I'd be happy to.
Consider it done.
I would be happy to, absolutely.
Exactly. So we'll get Chase on with you, sooner than later on that. Kristen?
Yeah, I don't have a very eloquent question, so let me try to have this stumble out of my mouth. You were talking about many people view this as a life sentence, right? You're incarcerated and then that's it. And you also talked about this theory of change. Right. So how do we get there? So from a practical standpoint, I can hire or have an intern that's, a justice involved individual, but what do we do? How do we change that? How do we change society's perception? Or like, what are some small steps we can take to educate the general public? I don't know if that's too large or if you get,
I have an answer.
Girl, excellent.
And the reason I have an answer is because I think about this stuff a lot.
I'm sure.
And I think that it's important from a community standpoint and as our responsibility as citizens. Mm-hmm. You'll frequently hear nonprofit professionals like myself look for support, and we'll use a phrase. We'll say time, talent, and treasure.
Yep.
Right? Well, I'm adding one, and I'm calling it a tally, because that's what a vote is. And so my point is that our criminal justice system is controlled from a political sense, by elected officials and those that they appoint and hire in certain roles.
Yeah.
And everyone who's involved, everyone in our society is carrying around a theory of change around what is criminal justice, what is the right approach for our society to for safety, for if you study the classic tenets of criminal justice, it's determining what is a crime, and it's determining who committed a crime, and in punishment. Those are the three things you learn if you go get a degree in criminal justice. What's missing there is reentry, rehabilitation, right? And we all carry around this theory of change. So most of us who grew up, I won't ask you when you were born. I was born
we were talking about it earlier, so it's fine. It's on the table.
I was born in 1966 at the end of the Nixon era. In the United States, the Nixon era characterized as a war on crime. I don't know if you guys remember that, right?
I do. She doesn't, because she was born 35 years after that.
I see. No. Born in the early 80s. Leave me alone.
Okay.
That war on crime is based on tenets that were established in the 18th century by two British philosophers and one French guy. And the theory is, right, that theory of change is that if you punish people harshly, other people will be deterred. And punishment and deterrence is how you promote public safety.
Yeah.
Right? What we know, just literally from research, is that criminal behavior is largely the result of lack of access to resources and opportunities.
Yep, that's right.
And so the way that you restore someone to a normative behavioral mode is by providing access to opportunities and resources. And so the barriers that exist, where we have members of our society who believe that, if someone committed a crime in the past, they should never be able to get another job as long as they live. Well, that makes every sentence a life sentence. The correct or the more productive theory of change is that by understanding from a behavioral health standpoint the root cause of criminal behavior, whether it's substance abuse or poverty or mental health issues, right? Those are the ways to address the criminal behavior. And then once the criminal behavior ceases, you can provide resources and access and opportunity that lead to normative behavior. So at its root, we have to change the way we think about it. San Diego employers are in a special place to remove barriers because they employ people, right? Our county Health and Human Services, Behavioral Health Services, our Public Safety Department, they're all working very hard to remove other kinds of barriers, like to housing and providing housing programs and access to mental health services and substance use disorder services and things like that.
So, Bill, what can our listeners do to support your efforts?
All listeners can go to our website at secondchanceprogram.org, and they can press the Donate Now button. They can look at our events. We have a fundraiser coming up on April 18th. That we invite people to come and to support our activities. And also, for those listeners who are employers or are talent acquisition professionals, they can reach out to us, contact us via the website, and we can share the research and the starter kits for how to successfully engage in a second chance employment program in your place of work.
No, that's great. And of course, they can always attend that ribbon cutting on that fence on the 20th of January. Is that correct?
Yeah, we have a ribbon cutting. We do have limited space for that, but we are cutting the ribbon. You'll see it covered on the news.
Right.
And there's also opportunities to donate to support the garden program on our website, secondchanceprogram.org.
Bill, it's always a pleasure having you on. You have so much great content to share. It's very important content. We're going to look forward to meeting Chase next time you're on, and he can talk about his story or bring whoever else you want, because we all know that it's the street cred that comes in and says, here's how it's benefited. And to be honest with you, we cannot do enough to support what you're doing, the great results you have, and the lives you've changed, not just the ones who go through the program, but everybody who's in their sphere. So appreciate everything you do. Thanks, Bill.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. Bill Payne, he's the president and CEO of Second Chance. I'm Drew Schlosberg. As you've been listening to another edition of Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show, we are the nation's longest-running community podcast, now in our 18th year, brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union. As always, Kristen Fogel, my phenomenal co-host. Thank you for your insights and questions, and we're looking forward to the next interview.
Yeah,
How's that
me
sound?
too. Thanks
Very
so
good.
much.
We hope you enjoyed the show.
You've been listening to an episode of Drew Schlosberg's Spotlight on the Community Show, amplifying the voices of social impact organizations, entrepreneurs, local nonprofits, and other community champions who shape the culture, creativity, and connectivity of San Diego community. Brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union, bringing good things to San Diego for over 60 years. Learn more about what is good for you and good for all by visiting www.missionfed.com.
Cloudcast Media.